guess you're Clay.
Hi,
Glad
good to
meet
see you,
here.
Brian.
Hi, darling.
Hey, you too.
Wow! Look at you. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Thank you so much for showing up. Hey.
I'm part of Naomi.
Okay, you're part of Naomi.
Yeah.
This is the fam. Oh, hi.
Oh my God.
Good to see you, friend. Oh my God, it's always
Look at your kids.
Oh my God, look at you.
I love you, brother.
Oh, so long, brother.
Oh, you look awesome. All right, Hero,
Hero.
Hannah,
Hannah, I remember you.
Haley.
Haley, yes.
How many times have you been here?
Let's see. This was my dad's ancestral home, but he traveled all over the world growing up, and when I was growing up, and he was with the U.S. Foreign Service. And so when we would go to Asia, when we go to Japan or the Philippines, two places my dad was stationed, we would stop here. And I always wanted to come to the Seattle Center, I would say for the mural, but also for the bumper cars and all the things they used to have here, the great rides and games.
The Wild Mouse.
Right, the Wild Mouse, come on. And we have lots of family stories about that, but I would say maybe 6 or 7 times as I was growing up. And of course we always stopped here and talked about the legacy of my Uncle Paul.
And that's, the legacy is pretty strong and obvious, but I'm wondering, apart from the fact that it's connected to you and your family, describe this mural. Why does it appeal to you? What makes it special?
Well, all I can say is that, everything that I feel that I've seen that my Uncle Paul has done expresses an intensity and truth and honesty emotionally. And it's not, even though it's abstract expressionism, a lot of it doesn't strike me as at all intellectualized or at all forced. Every piece he did came from the heart. We have 4 in our home, and you could just feel, I think, the emotional energy and the truth of it.
What kinds of emotions come to the fore when you're looking at it?
That's a really, really good question. There's, again, because when I say emotional truth is often about nuance, right? There's parts of that I could say, almost a celebration. There's parts of it that say, maybe there's some darkness and some blocks. Altogether, it's a one big emotional statement that I guess there's no words for it because it is the statement itself.
And you can probably, without knowing chapter and verse of his life, think of some high points and some dark points.
Absolutely. Well, here, what an achievement in 1962, when less than 20 years before, most of his family was in relocation camps in the scrublands of Idaho. He painted a beautiful picture of my father and his little sister, my auntie Stella, walking with a guard tower, machine guns, and barbed wire. So he knew, and of course, like any artist, whether or not you're the member of an oppressed, marginalized group, he had difficulty just making a living, so he repaired cars, he did everything to support his family. So, and here he is doing something, for the World's Fair, for his home city of Seattle, beyond accepted, honored, so I think there's a celebration with the darkness, for sure.
I know that you didn't spend as much time with him as Mark did, but do you have any sense that he understood the importance of what he was creating here, and for the setting, for the magnitude of the audience, for the event itself, and its endurance over the decades?
I wonder, I think often about how do you think of your legacy as an artist, and do you focus or concentrate on your legacy, because you don't know if everything's going to be burned down a week later, or if it's going to last 1,000 years. And so I think my feeling is, and I didn't know him well, but I think I knew him well enough to say that my feeling is, when it was about the work, it was about that moment. It was about the work in the moment, not about what the legacy.
So it wasn't the broader picture of the millions of people who would see it over the time. It was about creating the emotional truth at the time.
I think that's true, although I'm sure, that knowing that hundreds of thousands of people, great music, and all of the emotions that have been here, over these many years.
Yeah.
It's an incredible thing.
It's a beautiful setting, and it's set off by the green of the amphitheater.
It
and,
certainly is.
You know, how much more prominent could you be than to front the Space Needle? You know? You're not a visual artist as a painter, you know, literally, but you are an artist. Did he and did this have an impact on you?
Yeah, I would say, you know, it's not only myself, but my cousin Mark, of course, and then even my little 5-year-old daughter, who does a lot of what I consider to be brilliant paintings. You know, all because we have a bunch of art around the house that says Horiuchi on it. Because I grew up coming here almost as a pilgrimage with my father and family, saying, you know, this is your uncle's legacy. I think it definitely told those of us who had ears to hear that, you know, it was good and cool to be an artist, to express yourself artistically.
What was it in you that got this family gathering together when it hasn't happened for very often?
Well, I've got to say, you know, so Paul Horiuchi was my grandfather's cousin, and came to live with my grandfather when he came to America, and with my father and his family considered him an uncle. So my father came from a family of 6. His parents, Shigetoshi and Takeko, came over from Japan, had 6 children here, and my dad was the last living one. He died in November, and so I guess when what I considered the patriarch of the Horiuchi family died, I thought it was time to come back here with my family and pay some tribute to Seattle and to where he grew up and the place he loved his whole life.
So this is an event in itself.
Absolutely.
And it looks like you got a good turnout, about
Yeah.
2 dozen people here.
I'm really happy.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Congratulations.